So in the previous video, we saw that a component was not being rendered on the browser. So did you figure out what was the reason for that? If not, let me just tell you what is the reason. So the reason is we have not imported our component in the app.js file, as you already know. And if you don't know, let me just tell you that any component which you want to display on the screen, which you want it to get it rendered, so that you need to import and you need to include it in the app.js file. If not, it will not be rendered and you will not be able to see the changes which you make, or you don't need to like see what is there in the component. So you need to import it. So let me just go ahead and import it. So this is how you write import, like any name you can provide here. So I'll provide search main. Okay, it already did that part for me. That's a good way. All right, let me just provide a caps lock for the first alphabet. Okay, search main from components search main. Sometimes it just auto imports for you while typing only, and if you include also, so sometimes it just gives you an option for auto importing. Let me just include this here. That will be search main, and let me just really save, and let me go to the browser. Yes, you can see there is a input field which says type city name, and here is the search city. So we have successfully rendered whatever code we typed. So let me just go back to the browser, and right now it's looking a little bit basic without any styling. So let's go ahead and import the css file which we created, because without css, HTML is just the skeleton. Like there's a saying like HTML is just a skeleton, and the designing all the things which are visible to us, which we see, so that is the CSS. So you need to like provide the CSS. So let me just go ahead and import the CSS file in the search main component. So let me import it, and it will be import from, and now I will provide the source to the my CSS file. So maybe this, no, I am doing some mistake, and is the spelling correct? No, you will just provide, I think you will just provide this, which is the source of the files.css file, where it is located. Actually it's just address. Okay, so components, and then you need to provide styles or style.css. Okay, now if I go back to the browser, and if I just refresh and see, okay, so we are seeing, like we are able to see like little styling is being done, although not all the styling is done, but some kind of styling is there. So we can go ahead and tackle it, like why it's not looking like that. So let's go back to the VS Code, and now I'm here, and let me just provide here search in place of search city, because you don't need to write big text in the buttons are like as beautiful as they are small. Okay, so in the button there will be search, and here I will write type city name, or we can just write search city and then two dots. Okay, now if I save it, and now if I go back to the browser, uh, it looks a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now if I go back to VS Code, and let's do further things. So now what we want to do is that we have to capture the text which is being let me show you. We have to capture the text which is being typed here right now. Okay, so whatever we type here, so that needs to be captured in a variable, and that variable needs to be passed in the URL of that API which we saw. So that's very important. So for that, what we need to do is we need to create a variable which will store this variable, which will store the value which or keyword which we type here. So for that need to like see what is being typed, and we need to store it, then we need to pass it. So all that work will be done now. So let me just import use effect and use state. Right now we just need use state, and use state is what I will explain you now, and later on I'll explain you use effect, what is use effect. So let us just create a, so here you will write the variable which needs to be like which is responsible for the storing the keyword and passing it. So we'll put it in a use state variable. So it is something like that. First you need to define it like const and then an array, and now inside this there will be a variable, and the next will be the function which is responsible for changing that variable. So we will write it like search term, and then next is the function set search term. So this will be the function, and next there will be a default value. So this is how you will provide a default value, and now here for example I am providing a default value of Mumbai. So that doesn't matter, you can provide anything, or you can leave it blank, no issues with that. So this is the variable which will be storing the data which is being typed, and this is the function which is responsible for changing that variable. Okay, so next we need to provide a function. We need to provide a function in this input field, so which is responsible for capturing the data, you know, when we are typing. So as we are typing, there should be some function which should trigger on any or on every type of the keyboard. Now every single alphabet we type, that needs to be recorded somewhere, right? So for that we need to provide a function which gets triggered here on changing this input. So for that we have a function which is called as onChange. So this is the default function. So we will provide onChange, and onChange expects a function, callback function. So inside this we will provide a function. So that will be, we can provide a fat arrow like inline function which is the fat arrow function, or you can provide, you can declare a function here and you can define everything, and then you can just call it with the name. So I am doing it inline, so let me just teach you how to do that. So this is the syntax for it, and we are passing an argument which is e or event. You can write e or event. So then you will provide this fat arrow, and next is that it expects like a return value. So what is return? You can provide a parenthesis, curly braces if you want, or you can just leave it like that, no issues with that. All right, so now you have to like pass like every value which we type, so where it should pass. So here I will call this function, you see, because this is the function which is responsible for changing the value here. And once we call this, we need to pass the like keystrokes, like whatever we are typing, that we need to pass in that. Okay, so here we'll call that function, that is set search term. All right, and then inside this we will pass whatever is being typed. All right, so that will be event or e dot target dot value. All right, now we need to also give a value for this, like once it is typed, like whatever is the value. So that we need to provide this argument which is value, and we need to provide this what is the value. So value will be search value. You see this or search term, it is like whatever is the variable here. Okay, so search, it's my bad. Okay, search term. Okay, so let me just turn on the word wrap. From where we do this? Okay, word wrap, because it's going like so far and I cannot see it. Okay, so now we have done this. Now we'll check whatever we typed is being like recorded in that variable or not. So for that, let me just do it console log here and see console.log and our variable name, that is the search term. So this will be seeing in the browser. And I made it like small mistake I made, that is your component name should always start with uppercase. So this was small, so I changed it to like capitals. So you also do that, never make this mistake. Your component name should always start with a capital letter. Okay, so this was set search term, this is set search term. There was a typo, so I fixed it. Okay, so let me just save it and let me take you to the browser. And here if I open the inspector with F12, so here whatever I type here should reflect here. So okay, it's an empty string it shows. Just take a look here. Okay, so I will write maybe Pune, Pune. You see, every alphabet I type is recorded and reflected in this. If it's get reflected, that means it's working properly and our variable is storing the data which we type here. See, everything is being typed. So if I write here Bangalore, see, everything is being typed, is being recorded. Okay, so that is what I was trying to tell you. So this is the variable which is storing all the keyword, and this is the function which is responsible for like getting each alphabet and making it a word. So on change, like on change of the input, it like the name itself justifies, you know, on changing the input value, this function triggers and it updates the value. Okay, so that's it. Now we can comment it down, or we can even delete it. We don't need this console. Okay, so next we'll be adding functionality to the search button. Like whenever we hit the search button, so what should be done in the like background, what should be the logic. So that we'll do in the next video.